welcome to our Sunday edition of Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom on our Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channel. Today is episode number 212 and we have Dr. Subramaniam Swamy and Sree Iyer for the next 45 minutes discussing a very topical issue. The topic is the saga of the Canadian Hardeep Nijjar, allegations and facts. And as you know, P. Guru's the man behind P Guru's portal and the writer, editor is Sree Iyer, and he is back on our show. And with him, we have Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. So we will be discussing. So without wasting much time, it's over to Dr. Swamy to initiate the discussion on this very important topic. And we welcome Sree Iyer to our show, and we'll have his inputs and he will take part in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Jagdish. I think what I will do is raise 7 questions and a brief answer to the best of my knowledge. And then, of course, we can have a discussion. This is going to be a Gyan Ganga where we will have differences, but we are all colleagues. So we'll have a friendly disagreements so that the audience knows that this is a kind of an issue which requires a great deal of discussion in the future. So first question is, was Nijjar, Sardarji, the Sikh Nijjar, a terrorist? Which is being used, the word is being used quite widely, that he's a terrorist and so on. Now, he was declared by India in 2020. The NIA declared him as a terrorist. I mean, there's no dispute on the designation that the Indian government had given him. But the NIA, which declared him a terrorist, stated that Nijjar stood accused of launching a concerted secessionist campaign for creating Khalistan. Now, would this audience, the team here, would you regard that as terrorists? Or terrorist necessarily means the use of violence to overhaul a society or a set of people. So therefore, this is something I would like to know. What is it that the government of India has to call him a terrorist besides just this fact that he was a secessionist? And by that, by the way, I can say DMK is also a party of terrorists. But anyway, that's just a joke. Please don't take it seriously. Now, the issue is the Sikhs have a long history of defending Hindus. So when you say terrorists, are they targeting Hindus or they're targeting the government? That needs some specificity. Yes, they want a separate country where those people like Nijjar, but we certainly, there's no question. I would say overwhelming number of Sikhs in India and abroad are people who consider themselves as Indians. And in fact, even our constitution, Article 25 in its explanation says that Hindus will include Buddhists, Sikhs and Jains. And nobody has objected to that thing. And all our scriptures are, they're very common. We read it, we participate in each other's functions. So this attempt to divide the Sikhs away from India was started originally by Pakistan, because Sikhs are our 2% population, but they are 20% of our army. And so they are great valor, with great valor they fight. And so to demoralize them, to weaken them, it has been a Pakistani policy. And I don't know why this the Canadians have taken it to such a pitch. These are things which could have been quietly done. I can mention a matter which Sree Iyer is here. in San Francisco, the Sikhs had come and burnt our consulate there, and it was very quietly just put there. Whatever action had to be taken was taken with the help of the Americans and the FBI, and whatever the Indian government wanted done, the FBI cooperated. I mean, that's the way to go about it. Why this whole thing has been suddenly flared up, and then suddenly this Five Eyes has come, and these Five Eyes, you see, are saying, as if it's a kind of a United Nations Security Council or something like that. But I don't know what they are deciding. So we need to know a little more about that. Now, the first point is Nijjar is being declared officially by the NIA in India as a terrorist. But when you look at the description of why he's a terrorist, it only simply says that he was launching a concerted secessionist campaign for creating of Khalistan. Then that is something that could not, I don't think, comes within the meaning of the term terrorist. But anyway, that doesn't mean that he may not have become a terrorist now. Something that the Canadians would have to tell us. Now, what I wanted to say, the second part is that the Sikhs have such a long history of defending India, defending Hindus. What is this? What is it that has gone wrong, which has made the Sikhs what they are today? It is entirely Operation Blue Star. Operation Blue Star was a Russian, Soviet idea, which Mrs. Gandhi was dragged to do it because I was a player at that time in terms of going and living in Golden Temple, meeting Bhindranwala, meeting Mrs. Gandhi, our Gandhi Jail Singh, almost everybody, commander-in-chiefs who went into entered the Golden Temple, all these people. And it appeared to me that the Soviets, and particularly Harkishan Surjit, who was a Rajya Sabha MP from Punjab and a communist, he was at it. And the Russian ambassador in a cocktail party or whatever you call it, a party that was there where ambassadors came, he met me and he told me that, why are you with Bhindranwala? I said, why not? He said, no, he is communicating every day from Golden Temple to the CIA. I said, well, by what? By telephone or by what means? So he said, no, he has a wireless connection. I said, to a wireless connection, the government of India has told me there's no such wireless connection. And you please tell me where is the wireless connection, I'll go and see it. So, I mean, the whole thing was built up to somehow demoralize the Sikhs and separate them. And obviously, at that time, the Soviet Union was of the view that India should be shown its place, and the Pakistanis naturally wanted India to. So I'm saying, look at the background which has created all this. There's all this Khalsa outside and these bodies. They have come because of Operation Blue Star, and 3,000 people butchered by congressmen after Mrs. Gandhi's assassination. And they went to houses. I was in Delhi at that time. I went and rescued so many people. Those people whom I rescued even today are grateful for that. But the fact is, it was horrid. And there were these masses going into houses, dragging them out, putting tires around them, burning them. You can get them all. That case is still pending in the Delhi High Court. It has not even moved to any serious situation. Twice I tried to get into intervene, but I was not allowed to intervene by the High Court. And therefore, I would say, if the Sikhs have a grievance that even in a matter like this, where 3,000 Sikhs were butchered by a mob led by Congress MPs like the Titler and X and Y and Z, why should the Sikhs have any feeling for you? But still, the Sikhs are still with us. They have had a Sikh who was a Prime Minister of India, who was another great patriot. So I think when this whole Sikh matter comes, please I would urge our people, make a distinction Don't put a complete the same paint on everybody. Then I have the fourth point I would like to say is that the Khalistani Sikhs are there in many countries, and the United States I've already mentioned, Pakistan, of course, UK. So, has the government of India done anything to weaken them? I had gone once in London. I was called by the Sikhs because the Sikhs think well of me, because at the time of Operation Blue Star, I was stood with them and not with Mrs. Gandhi. Others were all cheering her on by where I was telling her, and of course I was also speaking to her and telling her that she will regret this. And towards 3 months before her death, she met me in the corridors of Parliament House and told me, "You are right, but now it's too late for me to do anything." So anyway, that's a separate matter. Maybe when I write my autobiography, I might put all this in. But what I'm saying today is that let us take this incident as a way of dealing with those hurts which has been imposed on the Sikhs, and yet the overwhelming majority of Sikhs are with you. The farm agitation is an example where the Sikhs were absolutely peaceful. So much attempt was made by some people whose name I will not give, who tried to create a riot in the Sikhs. But they sat there for, I think, more than a year, in the hot sun, in the cold winter, all that, and peacefully. And ultimately, when Modi backed down, they all went back quietly. And that was a extraordinary thing. That this should have been publicized too, but we have not done that. I would think that one of the things that is a problem is that Modi doesn't have a proper National Security Council. Mr. Doval is a policeman, and he's all the time jumping on the slightest suggestion from the Prime Minister that it can be done. He is the one who brought Modi from, I think Modi was in Afghanistan or someplace, and brought him without an invitation, unheard of in the history of diplomacy, to land in the house of the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, and then ask for lunch with him. And these kinds of things, which and I can tell you on China and so many other things. And same thing with this fellow who's a foreign minister. I don't think Modi has a proper council which can advise him, tell him what he doesn't like also, and bring it about. So I will conclude what I wanted to say, and pass it on, because this is a topic on which we've got some really big hastis here, both from the United States. So we need to know their views in detail. But I would say that this Five Eyes, it was set up in 1942. And they say that they have come to the conclusion that the Indians were behind it. I think the government of India should address that point by point and rebut it if they can, and tell us what is it that has been sent to the government of India in terms of implicating the government of India in this whole matter of extra legal killings that has taken place in Canada. So over to you, Jagdish, and whoever else. I mean, Sree Iyer is probably on the screen. So over to you, Sree Iyer. Please give us your wisdom.
Sree, you are muted. Sree, unmute yourself, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Swamy. Always a pleasure to be on VHS channel. I want to first start out by saying that I consider my Sikh brothers and sisters as my own. This has nothing to do with the community of Sikhs. Dr. Swamy, you know as well as I do, we have done so many times. We have gone to the biggest Gurudwara in North America that is not very far from where I live. We have been there. We have mixed with everybody. We know that this is not an issue about the Sikh identity, sir. I know you have given the history of what happened. Very, very unfortunate that many Hindus didn't even know what was happening in 1984 after the assassination of Indira Gandhi. So one thing has led to the other. Let us set it aside for the moment. What I'm looking at this as a purely law and order issue, whether there were laws broken, and also you said that New York Times article you are quoting. So let me also tell you that yesterday there was a gentleman by the name of I'm trying to remember his name. He worked for the Pentagon. Michael Rubin. Yeah, Michael Rubin worked for the Pentagon. Yesterday he came out with a statement saying that Nijjar is as much a plumber as Osama bin Laden was a construction engineer. Now, you said that NIA declared him as a terrorist in 2020. There was an Interpol red corner notice issued against him in 2016. Canada did nothing about it. This man was given Canadian citizenship based on their own minister's statement. First, he said he got it in 2015. Then he changed and said that he got it in 2007. The truth is, in 1997, Nijjar tried to sneak into Canada with a fake passport by the name of Ravi Sharma. And the Canadian authorities caught that and did not allow him to get refuge. Then, 11 days later, he's back again saying that I got married to this lady and now I should be given shelter. And they said that this is a fake marriage and they didn't allow it. And now nobody can tell what happened between 1997 and 2007. Where was Nijjar? Now, stories are in the internet saying that he was being trained by Pakistan and that he was directly responsible for something that happened in 2006. There is a big story, or there is a lot of data around this that NIA may not have presented to it, sir, to us. And based on the chart sheet where you said that they are naming him as a terrorist, these days, Dr. Swamy, information leaks like a sieve. If NIA needs to raid somebody in Kerala, which state's police they take? Anything but Kerala State Police. The Kerala State Police comes to know 30 minutes before the raid. That is how much the police is compromised. Challenge me if I'm wrong, guys. So the problem here is that everywhere there has been breakdown of law and order, and this is what India is faced with. Whatever it is that NIA has claimed by official records, I am reasonably sure that there is more there. Because why would they issue a red corner notice in 2016? Interpol. So see, we have to put some trust by successive governments. If the Indian government gives the data to Interpol is not going to blindly go and tell everybody that there's a red corner notice against him. Why did the Canadian government not act? I'm just asking questions. And Pannu is a dual citizen of US and Canada. Now, goes to Canada 2 days ago. There's a video now. He says that all Canadian Hindus must leave Canada at once. Has Justin Trudeau said a word about it? Interestingly, Jagmeet Singh Dhaliwal has said. Jagmeet Singh said that this is wrong. Everybody has a right to live in Canada. So what I'm trying to say is there are internal politics involved. Many people are now saying that Justin Trudeau wants to essentially downsize Jagmeet Singh's hold in the Sikh community. And that is why he has kind of taken one step further and taken this case of Nijjar and saying that, look, I am fighting for you guys. Jagmeet has not done this. Think about it that way. There are internal party games going on. And today, if elections were held in Canada, the Conservatives would get 179 out of the 342 seats or 340 seats, something like that. They'll get an absolute majority. So they are up against it. So there is something there going on also. Whether the United States shared intelligence with them or not, yes, Blinken made a statement. New York Times, which never has liked India, has now come out with a story that it was the US which shared the intelligence. But US shares intelligence with India also, Dr. Swamy. In Arunachal Pradesh, how do you think India caught those 50 Chinese soldiers? Because US gave the intelligence to India also. These are the places where, and they surprised them and they caught them. It's a different matter that India did not extract any price. The moment the guy put out a white flag for surrender, they just let them go. That's a different point for a different day. My point here is data will get shared. It is information, it's intelligence, it's not fact. It is Central Intelligence Agency, it's not Central Fact Agency. What I'm saying is that you said that India has been satisfied with the progress done in the fires that were set on the SFO conflict. Dr. Swamy, I want to tell you, 2 times it was attempted. Once in March and the second time in July. In March, what happened was they actually did a much bigger thing. They poured kerosene on the roof and the structure of the consulate and tried to set it on fire. It had rained for about 2 weeks before that, so the wood was damp, so it did not catch fire. This proof also was given to the US, and as part of that investigation, within 4 weeks, they rounded up about 6 or 7 Sikhs, and all of them, they said 3 of them were involved in this. Okay, then they came back in July. This time what they did was they used some sort of an accelerant, and there is a carpet right outside the consulate building. They sprayed that accelerant on that carpet and they lit it on fire. And you can, everything was captured on video and it was distributed as if saying that we have set the consulate on fire. To this day, no one, whether it is San Francisco Police Department or the FBI, has declared that they have caught the people there. There were at least 3 people, and now people are saying that there are 4 people. Why have you not shared this information? Dr. Swamy, the problem is, up until recently, the Khalistanis would come to any official event of the Indian government. Like if, for example, if there is an event where the ambassador is, the consul general is present, they'll come and they'll protest peacefully in front and go. What has happened in the last couple of years is, there will be an Independence Day float. They come there, they are harassing Hindus now. They're also attacking Hindu temples because they want to try and create this divide between Hindus and Sikhs. I am looking at it purely as a matter of law and order, as organized crime taking over the society, and they are trying to subdue the Sikhs into silence. See, this is where the problem comes. When moderates don't find their voice, then you are in for some sort of a managed narrative. And who is funding Pannu? Is it CIA or is it CCP or is it ISI or is it ISI or CCP through ISI? I mean, no one wants to answer all these questions. So clearly, when nobody says anything, that means there is something. I would like to see an official denial from anybody. And the official statement that CIA will give is, we neither confirm nor deny it. That means that they're basically confirming it. But right now, you have said, nobody has said anything in this. So what does one make of it? Should the Canadian Hindus be afraid? Should they leave? Aren't they one of the biggest tax-paying blocks in Canadian government to the treasury? Same with the next thing. See, Pannu is a dual citizen. Tomorrow he'll surface in New York and say the same thing. All Hindu Americans should leave. I mean, who is he? And why are you giving so much deal to him? Deal meaning Hindi word, like so much lag. Why can't you yank his chain? If he's indeed an asset of CIA, why is the CIA keeping quiet about it? I mean, we need some answers also. We are, at this point, we are kind of a little bit nervous. And this matter was brought in front of the government officials. I'm going on record and saying this. That, look, as long as they protested in Indian government events, nobody had any problem with it. Now they come to these floats. If there is a Navratri procession, they are protesting there. They are harassing people. There is videos where this guy is saying that I'm going to come and rape all the Brahmin girls. Dr. Swamy, this is something that a Sardar has said. It doesn't matter. Even if one guy says it, that is wrong. How many other Sardar brothers and sisters oppose this? This guy has an arm-length record of rapes and murders in Punjab. Somehow he has managed to surface in San Francisco. And he starts saying that, I'm going to rape all these people. See, there is concerted effort to inflame passions. I may be the voice of that. I'm saying this because I'm seeing it come in many ways. And also, Dr. Swamy, I'm linking something slightly different but it is also that there is a big attempt to try and make this caste discrimination as a law throughout United States. There are 12 more states trying to work on similar laws as the SB 403 in California, sir. And it has Democratic Party's hands all over it. They can't deny this. I proved it in my monologues before. So there is no doubt about the fact that there is a Democratic hand in it. Which Democratic Party leader wants to take up ownership on this? There is a guy called Shergill who sits in, he's a progressive chair in California, and he issues a fatwa kind of thing to the California senators and assemblymen. Anybody who crosses the line will face the consequences about SB 403. And like dumb kitten, they are all gone and voted now. The facts say something else. Dr. Swamy, this thing is, I don't care whether it is India which has killed this fellow or somebody else who killed this fellow. What I do care about is the Hindu Americans, the Hindu Canadians. We are becoming cannon fodder. And I don't think that is fair. Indian Americans form 1% of the population in US, and they contribute 6% to US's tax base. I know I'm saying this, parroting it for the 10th time on my channels, but I want to make a point. Guys, we have power. Why are we not making use of it? How many of the Hindu Americans are coming and telling me in P Guru's channel, look, we stand behind you, let's do something about it? Only now, in the SB 403, towards the fag end, people started demonstrating in front of their congressmen and senators, and the result of that was in the assembly vote, about 23 or so abstained. They didn't vote against SB 403. They still only want to abstain. So there is somebody sitting above all these people saying, you do anything outside the line drawn and you are in trouble. So this has now become more of a game where I don't even know who's calling the shots. Joseph Biden has a lot to answer for his son's crimes and of omission and commission. He's not saying anything. And there is a book that has been published that's about 2 years old now that says that $32 million was paid as kickbacks by the Chinese CEFC, Chinese Energy Finance Commission, to Biden family. And the Republicans also, I'm holding them responsible too. You've had this data for so many years. What have you done with it? So there is party politics, there's country politics, and there is international politics. Dr. Swamy, you also forgot to mention one 800-pound gorilla here. There is story doing the rounds that the Justin Trudeau plane was grounded for 2 days because sniffer dogs found drugs in the plane. And not a single country has opened their mouth about this. My point here is, I know what I'm doing. I want to lead my life peacefully. Can I do that? Today, these people, the pannus are just, they're just elements of, somebody who wants to have the pot boiling in India. Sir, this is an acknowledged fact by many people that a previous Khalistani guy, Jagjit Singh Chauhan, was a CIA asset. 1990s. The man died a complete pauper because nobody see, when you become an asset, once they have lost use for you, they discard you like, used banana peel. That's it. You're done. And Pannu should remember that. If you are being asked to do something because somebody is telling you to do it, beware. Whatever happened to Chauhan is going to happen to you also. And just look at law and order, because somewhere you have to draw the line, Dr. Swamy. I am looking at it purely as a law and order. Does the Hindu American, does the Hindu Canadian have the same fundamental rights as everybody else living in those countries? If he is following the rules, if she is following the rules, then why are you being targeted? Not in one way, but more than one. This is the question I want to place in front of all of us here today.
Sree Iyer, Sree Iyer, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
No, let him finish. Let Ramesh finish, and then we can have questions. Is that all right with you?
No, I thought you wanted
sir,
to respond to Sree Iyer first.
Okay, let Jagdish ask the question then.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
My question to Sree Iyer is, Sree Iyer, you spoke about the burning of the consulate in California or San Francisco. What is our government of India doing about it? What I want to know is, government of India, Mr. Biden gave a big reception to Mr. Modi, invited him to the White House, he invited him to the Senate or the Congress. Does Modi not raise these issues with them, or is it just sweet talk? When a representative office in California is burnt and attacked, is it not the government of India responsibility to raise with the host country these issues? I can understand we blame USA, it has to be blamed, but has Modi raised it? And why is it not, why does he not be vocal about it? I want to know this. Just condemning USA is not enough. Government of India also should protest and publicly also take Biden to task. Why is Mr. Narendra Modi so frightened of Biden? I want this answer, because it is really hurting me that Modi is silent on this issue.
Jagdish ji, I am not privy to the conversation between Joe Biden and Narendra Modi, and I'm not even sure Biden is even cognizant enough to understand the question and give a proper answer. This is my personal opinion. At this point of time, if you look at, P gurus, right? America thinks I'm an Indian spy. India thinks I'm an American spy, because I'm not exactly, saying glowing praises about Modi. Whenever something bad happens, I'm also asking them questions. And in between this, since I support the cause of democracy in Hong Kong, the Chinese have a problem. So anybody who's asking questions today is being looked at with suspicion. And I have done my part to try and find out the truth. And I can only ask so many times. Listen, I even had a date counter going, Jagdish ji, for the first 20 days. I thought they'll find out these miscreants, because they didn't stop at setting the consulate on fire. They made a video, and that video went viral. And we have been constantly having programs in PGurus where we are saying there is a thing called Network Contagion Research Institute, NCRI. What it does is, anytime an event happens, for example, a Khalistani is setting a Hindu temple on fire, there is an ecosystem around it. The bots get into play. Immediately the thing starts going in a big way viral, right? So we are saying that these are the research findings. Everybody knows about it. I know that CIA watches my programs, FBI watches my programs, MI5, MI6, MIXYZ, everybody watches these programs, because at least I'm trying to say, I'm asked some hard questions. I think before I ask my questions. I'm not doing this in a passionate mode. So if Modi is not saying anything about it, somebody has to ask Modi. But Modi has shut himself off. How long myself and people like Gopi Krishnan have been telling Modi, you need to have an open press conference. Even Trump, when he had a hostile press, he never shied away from having press conferences. Yeah, he would make some comments about you personally. That is unfortunate, but that is him. But Modi doesn't want to open his mouth in front of a press. Even when there is a press conference, one question by a hand-picked guy, and the question also is given in his hands, he is reading it out. That is how the democracy is. So there is something there about Modi where he doesn't like to answer these questions. And the public seem to be okay with it, Jagdish ji. You and I have a problem with it. The public seems to be okay with it. So I can't help you as to why he's not making an issue out of it. Even today, even in this case, Modi should be coming out and giving all the data about this drug thing. Neither Justin Trudeau has said anything, nor Indian government has said anything, whether drugs were found on the plane, on the tarmac or not. This is a serious issue. You cannot have drugs going about. And people are saying that there was fentanyl in it. I mean, fentanyl is killing, Dr. Jagdish ji. I'm not going to go on a rant. I mean, my point here is, people are not saying what they should be saying. That's how this is going to be. Swamy, Dr. Swamy, I had asked you a question about the drugs thing. What is your information, sir?
There is no such thing. It is a total rubbish. Nobody official has said that was there.
Yeah, that's what I'm also saying. That nobody has said it. But then why was this thing held back for 2 days?
Sree Iyer,
You got it
no,
from
no,
the media.
Sree
You
Iyer,
have not done the checking. You see, media puts all
Sree
kinds
Iyer,
of things, and
right,
this
Sree
has no basis.
Iyer,
And it's impossible because the Indian the aircraft of the Canadians was completely surrounded by Indian RAW, CRP, all these people. There's no way anybody could come and deposit it. You see, and you can't expect Mr. Trudeau to have brought it in his pocket and it fell out of his pocket. Anyway, that's a minor matter. Let's go on with Ramesh.
Sree Iyer ji, please tell us, there is lot of allegation that Canada and USA, there is a big network of drug trade growing on with the lorry trade going on there. What is your views on this matter? Because see, you are talking about the Canadian Prime Minister coming with drugs, but it is what is happening there. Tomorrow somebody can accuse of our Indian Prime Minister having landed in New York, and somebody may make different type of allegation. These allegations have no meaning. If some drugs were bought by the Canadian Prime Minister, Modi should have exposed him there only, impounded the plane. What is the point after the Canadian Prime Minister makes a statement in Parliament and all the unbugs and gunbugs try to float many of these theories and stories? What if the 56 inches was there? He would have impounded the plane in Delhi and become a big hero. But after he has gone back because he raises something in Parliament, and we say that this man come with drug. I am not for this drug, but I am asking you a question. Are you are talking about there's nobody objecting to Modi? You said somewhere, I don't know what you have said about Modi not opening his mouth and nobody objecting. Everybody is objecting. You see the state governments we are losing year after year. So don't say that nobody is objecting. What I am trying to understand is now how you all are tolerating and bringing people to power in the US, where there is a big network between Canada and the truck trade and the US truck routes, where they say is there is lot of drug trading happening. So what is your response to that?
Jagdishji, first of all, I'm in vehement agreement with you that Modi is not willing to take a press conference. You are saying that people are objecting. Yes, you make a statement here and then that gets buried in the news cycle a few hours later. What is more important? Why do you want press conferences with politicians? Is because you can ask follow-up questions, and unless they are on top of the matter, you will find out if they are lying or not. That is all I'm asking. I'm not saying that the drugs were on the plane. I'm saying what happened to this? Why are both sides not saying anything about it? I'm not making any allegations. As far as the trafficking of drugs is concerned, this is a huge problem. In fact, it has become one of the big narratives that one of the Republican candidates, Vivek Ramaswamy, has brought up. And this is true. I have done at least 2 monologues about the entire trafficking route, how it is coming in what form is it coming in, and how it is being distributed among people. Everything I have done at length, at least 2 episodes. I'll try and put the description and I'll give the links to PHS team so that they can also put it in the description section. These are videos that I've done extensive research on, and then I've come out and told that these are all the places and this is how it is happening. It's a clear and present danger. Jagdishji, you may not know this. If somebody starts using fentanyl, in 18 months, death is certain. People are not realizing this. It's a huge, huge problem. And the raw materials are coming from another country, China. China is giving the raw materials that are coming into Mexico, they're coming into United States, they're coming into Canada. There they get processed into some other product, and then that hits the people. There was a daycare center in New York where they were hiding these fentanyl drugs, Jagdishji. 3-4 days ago, this news has come. And the children were playing with it, and maybe they had it in lollipop form or something. They ingested it. 3 or 4 children are dead in New York. And
Let's
the
go-
owner is missing.
Let's go to Ramesh. So we're running out of time. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess. So, Dr. Swamy, quickly, I am on and I'm on Sree Iyer's side on this issue, Dr. Swamy. Let me put it this way: people who don't learn from history are condemned to repeat it. Back in 1985, in 82, in fact, when the Indian government told this very same Justin Trudeau's father about this Talinder Parmar. So that guy, he is the prime accused on the Kanishka bombing. They gave him evidence saying that you have to extradite this guy because he is giving threats against the Indians, and he says Hindus, very same pattern, rinse repeat. He again said that he will kill 50,000 Hindus. He will bomb planes out the plane. He was making all these threats, and the Indian government went to this guy, this Trudeau's father, told him that he needs to be extradited. That guy laughed it off. And guess what happened in 85, Dr. Swamy? The worst air disaster in history has happened, and they bombed it. I think we have to take one thing in perspective, Dr. Swamy. If there is, whether he's a terrorist, as you said, whether he classifies to be a terrorist or not, if it is a threat, and if he's issuing threats against citizen, even if it is one citizen, if 10 or 100, it doesn't matter. The Canadian government could have said, okay, we will help you investigate this matter. Instead, allowing to roam around, not do anything about it, I don't think it's a justifiable action. And number two, Dr. This is based on what Trudeau, he goes to the parliament and he says India was responsible for Nijjar's death. But when asked for proof, he says it will come in due course. Now, Dr. Swamy, you say that statement in a press release, it is fine. But you go to a parliament and make a statement that we will give evidence later. How does it show? And you're basically saying, and in what happened is we are not going to worry about this. We are going to make some accusations and get away with it. Whether India was contributed to the killing of Nijjar or not, which is yet to be proven, with time will come and day. Time and again, Dr. Swamy, again, America, Israel, many of these countries have done what they need to know to safeguard their country, Dr. Swamy. And you know what it is, and we also know what happens when a threat is issued against any of these states or its people. Action is taken by those respective countries. Maybe India did it in a hodgepodge way. Maybe they have not done it in a very subtle way. That is also a possibility. But if they have done it or not, at the end of the day, any threat to a life and that too blanket threat, even to Hindus, is definitely a terrorist act in my books, Dr. Swamy. It might not be in a general in a government standpoint, but it is one. And number two, Dr. Swamy, this NDP guy, Jagmeet, he has not condemned what Nijjar has said in the past, or he's not condemned what Panu is saying. Why is he still having currency? It's because he's got 10 seats. And as Sree told, this liberal party is going to lose as of today, they're losing elections. They need the support of this NDP who's got 10 seats. So they are pandering to this. At no point in time, pandering to such people is going to be in the best interest of Hindus. I just would end with that because we're running out of time. I think Arundji also wanted to have some questions. So I'll end with that, Doctor. At the end of the day, as I said, any terrorist threat should be, whether it is small, big, whether he's just made a statement, it has to be. And India has given this proof, not just now, right from, as he said, from Sree, when was it, 2016? That they gave the
2016 was the Interpol red corner notice.
Red notice on Nijjar, Dr. Swamy. So they have waited for so long and not done anything about it. Obviously, there is some credible evidence. Should have been. We don't know what has come out or not. Should have been more credible evidence that is almost close to a Kanishka like a disaster. So I think some action has been taken. Whether India did it or somebody else did it needs to be, time will tell us. Arvindji, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I have two small questions. My first question relates to the failure of the external affairs policy of Indian government. Just few days back, when President Biden was here for G20 summit, Modi and Biden were going hand in hand, and they were, showing to the public that America is a great friend of India, and it was from both sides apparently. But now we see that this Five Eyes business, and American agencies openly admitting that they provided intelligence to the Canada regarding this murder of Nijjar. So I don't know. Jagdish had asked this question about why government of India is not acting. My question is why government of India does not have a consistent policy. Within few days, on one platform you show a friendly gesture, and other platform you find out that something else is being done against Indian interests by the US, and nobody is speaking. BJP will never speak. The party people never speak. Jaishankar will only speak. The Foreign Affairs Minister Jaishankar only speak when Modi asks him to speak. So therefore, this whole thing, I think, it boils down to the one-man show, and that unfortunately the person does not know much about the foreign policy. Number one. Number two, Sree Iyer has given many instances about how the support is growing for separatism in Canadian Sikhs. But even if it grows, the Khalistan will only be in Canada. Khalistan can never be in India. We have seen in the past 15 years that whenever such forces raise their heads, ugly heads in India, government of India is enough, has enough power to control. There were some questions on Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab, but now we see the reality is different. The Khalistanis are losing hearts, and they are disheartened in India because they cannot do anything in India, and therefore they want to do it in Canada. So let them form a Khalistan in Canada. We have no problem. But the government of India, the Prime Minister, should call a spade and speak his mind openly and not be on both sides. You can't be on both sides anyway. I think Dr. Swamy can also throw light on this, that why Indian government is soft towards this statement or ownership of US government about the Five Eyes.
Who is the question directed at?
Anyone, I mean, you can also speak.
Dr. Swamy, I think you know how Indian government functions, so you should probably answer the external affairs question. I'll try to answer, but I would like you to touch on that, sir.
I'm in an awkward position of defending the government of India today.
You are part of the same party that governs, sir.
Yes, I mean, it's a democratic party. They allow me to do what I want and say what I want. The fact of the matter is this. If your country thinks that they can solve, if our country thinks that you can solve a problem in Canada by bumping off somebody and that too supervised by a senior official of the embassy, then they will have another thought coming very soon, because you can't do this kind of thing in another country. If the Khalistanis are doing anything, as Arvind correctly pointed out, the vast amount, overwhelming numbers of the Sikhs, they won't have anything to do with them. I travel to Punjab. They regard me as a very friendly person because of my stand in the Operation Blue Star. And they frankly say we will not allow another such a situation to arise, because they have ruined our relationship with the society. And in particular, they used to say that Nakun and something relationship is so close that we are one family. So, but at the same time, I would say that we must recognize that the ordinary citizens of the Sikhs have suffered a hell of a lot. The killing of 3,000 people by the most brutal methods by identified Congress members of Parliament on October 31 and November 1 of 1984 has still not been addressed. It's just hanging a fire in the Delhi High Court. So I think what you are saying is what the people are doing abroad. The only issue which we brought in is the incompetence of the Indian government in dealing with this issue. I wasn't defending any of those people who were aiming at destroying India or harming India or whatever. Why is it that you are not able to take a position? And we have seen that in San Francisco, they have taken a different approach than what they are now taking in here. Why is that? And and then of course people take me to another line and say, why are we not doing anything about China? So there's so many issues where the national interest of India is not being systematically nurtured by the present government, and that is why we have this situation today.
Dr. Swamy, I agree and disagree with you on a few things. I agree that India should not be doing anything in some other country's territory, yes. But in this particular case, the National Investigative Agency actually came to United Kingdom, United States, and and Canada. They spent a fair amount of time. They gathered data, and there is one tweet put out by Anand Narasimhan. Viewers, you can go and see on his timeline, where he said that the NIA has identified the 4 people who were involved in the setting of fire of the SFO consulate building. The NIA has come back to India with some data. So I don't know what beyond that they are going to do. Because, Dr. Swamy, this is intelligence business. This is where you have to keep your cards, fold your cards, show your cards in ways. I'm not making any apologies for anybody. My point, sir, is... No, let me finish, sir. There has been a red corner notice from Interpol, which is third party. I have had non-Canadian, non-Indian, non-American panelists come on my channel and say that Nijjar is not entirely innocent. In fact, he is very innocent. So this particular case is the wrong case for Trudeau to stand up, sir. Please, you were going to rebut me.
Yeah, it's not a question of whether he gets an A+ or a B-. That's not the issue. It's a sovereign country, member of the United Nations. We recognize them. And you go and do a thing which they should be doing, and they're not doing it. Therefore, you're going to go and do it. I mean, what precedent are you setting for this? You're in effect saying that they can do the same thing in India if something they don't like. See, that is the issue. The issue is today not one whether India, is being harmed and wronged and all that. You are breaking the sovereignty of a nation and acting on it and getting caught also. That is the word.
Dr. Swamy, we are presuming that India had a hand in this. I'm not presuming anything, Dr. Swamy. There are gangs in operation in California and in Canada.
You contradict this. What is this? Five Eyes people? You see, they have openly said so that India did it. You tell them we'll break your diplomatic relations with you if you don't withdraw the statement. But you can't have it both ways. You're a sovereign country yourself. You're being accused of doing something which is utterly wrong by international rules, by the United Nations Charter, everything. And then you say that, India is not admitted. Of course, India is not admitted. But the fact of the matter is that these 5 people who are supposed to be your friends, they're all democratic countries, by the way, all 5 of them. And they are supposed to be our friends. We are supposed to be in a quad with them and all that, at least the leader of those 5. And then you are going straight and doing it yourself. At least you could have told them that, listen, either you do it by such a date or we'll have to do it ourselves for our self-defense. Even that would have been okay. But you haven't even done that. Done it clandestinely.
Dr. Swamy, if you are going by New York Times report, I mean, I'm sorry.
You have been going by so many reports. I am not a question of going by New York Times report. Please tell me what is it that I'm going by New York reports. I have not relied on New York on anything. But New York report in New York Times is not just any paper. It's a paper with a status. If they have said something which is wrong, then you should write to them that you have wrongly put this and brought India into defame. Please apologize. I'll then help you to file a case against them in India.
Dr. Swamy, let me tell you the reality of media today. Media cannot afford to be independent. Today,
Media.
that is the state of media. Today, sir, I am in media. I'm telling you, India media cannot be centrist, cannot be truth directed today. That is how bad things have sunk to, sir.
Is
All I'm
involved.
saying,
Is India involved in the killing of Mr. Whatever Niraj or what was his name is?
Nijjar.
Nijjar? Is India in India's involvement in any way? Is a
No, I'm not saying that India had a hand in it or did not have a hand in it.
I give you an example. We issued a notice seeking his dead or alive situation and a 10 lakh rupee ransom, or I mean payment for whoever did it. You know that. Anyone who
There's a bounty. Yeah.
bounty, was that paid or not?
Dr. Swamy, the bounty was for his arrest, Dr. Swamy.
It comes out that it was paid because where was the money come from? Either you got it from the RAW money if you paid, or you got it from the exchequer. So if that it comes out, you will be in a terrible situation. I don't know whether it has happened, but you did say, and you put it out as an international thing, that a reward will be given.
No, it was given for his arrest, Dr. Swamy. A reward would be given for helping him arrest.
Well, I mean, the question
that's the statement. That is the official statement.
Yeah, of course, it's the official statement. And they'll say that he tried to run and we therefore shot him. But
that's not what India's charter was.
Dr. Swamy, see, this is why I went back to the 2016 Red Corner notice by Interpol. Interpol is is not an interested. They are neither Canada or India. They are for the world. They would have done the due diligence before issuing the Red Corner notice.
No, the issue is.
Why I'm saying that there is more here than meeting the eye.
The issue is the Red Corner notice, which Canada didn't obey. Right? It is not a sanction for India to go into Canada and do what it did. At least that's the accusation. You have not flatly denied it. You have not broken diplomatic relations with Canada, saying that how can you make this allegation against us? Because Canada is openly making this allegation. They're not hiding it. The ICE 5 also are now making the same allegations. You have to break diplomatic relations with all 5 of them. You're being caught in catch-22, and you need some intelligent advice. I think Sree Iyer should be consulted by Mr. Modi because he can't consult me. So you're a much more pleasant chap to consult. But India has made a huge mistake, and which will be used against us in the future unless we disown what Mr. Modi did.
Well, that's for India to understand and explain, sir. I'm not going to say anything, sir. It's above my pay grade. I have no idea.
No.
Go ahead,
I have
Jagdish
an
ji.
observation to make. See, these 5 rascal countries, I would call them rascal countries who are at the moment anti-Indian. What are they saying? Please cooperate in an investigation. Why are we saying they are right or wrong? Why is India not cooperating in the investigation? My question is that. Why is India not cooperating, and all these theories are floating around? His plane came with drugs, he was given a wrong room, and all that thing. This is one observation. Number 2, I want you all to understand, while we are discussing this in our topic, and all the WhatsApp university advisors and people who are forwarding, we condemn Khalistan. Khalistan can be only formed in, as Arvind Chaturvedi rightly said, it can be formed in Canada. But Khalistan, no Sikhs, no Hindus, or no Indian want Khalistan in India. But we must be very sentiment and very much I would say, careful of mixing up Khalistan and Sikhs, because at the moment Sikhs are an important backbone of our fighting forces. In our enthusiasm to condemn the Khalistans, we are making the mistake of equating them with the Sikhs. Sikhs have a long history, as Dr. Swamy always has maintained, in being the maximum number of people who were hanged during the British period. Even during the emergency, the maximum number of daily satyagrahas was done by the Sikhs in India. So Sikhs have been a backbone. In fact, maybe all of us Hindus today on this program would not have been Hindus if our Sikhs gurus had not challenged the Mughal rulers. So we must accept all that. Neither the Sikhs want Khalistan, the majority of the Sikhs don't want Khalistan. So we must not mix up the Khalistan and Sikh issue. That is a very important step, because lot of Sikhs are hurt by we equating them with Khalistan. So I only want to say this: Sikhs are as loyal, and as Dr. Swamy mentioned, the Hindus in our constitution include the Sikhs, Jain and the Buddhists. So we must be very sensitive to the issue. No Sikhs wants Khalistan. There has been some misunderstanding after Operation Blue Star. Slowly it was disappearing, but this incident will come back. Government of India must put its foot down, confront these 5 countries and cooperate with the investigation. We are not saying that they may have that India would have killed them, but cooperate in the investigation. The truth will come out. But why are we on a defensive on this issue? This is my point and my observation.
Arvindji, 11:33, you can conclude.
Just one point before you conclude.
Yes, sir.
It is like Sree Iyer, Ramesh Swamy and Subramaniam Swamy being considered as DMK. The Sikhs. We are also Tamils, so therefore we must be DMK. Anyway, that's on the lighter note, so that we
Okay, Arvindji, conclude, please.
I think this issue is very, very important for India, very, very important for India. But the kind of expression which Indian government should have expressed has not done. I don't know for what reasons. And this is one question which emerges from our discussion, that Indian government must take a stand vis-a-vis Canada, vis-a-vis US, and vis-a-vis Khalistan. I mean, why the ruling party people or the ministers are not able to speak and take a single stand? Number one. Number two, as Jagdish rightly said, Khalistan cannot be supported by people in India. They have not supported in the past, and I'm sure they will not support in the future. And therefore, the only possibility that Khalistanis will win, if at all, anywhere, that will be within the parts of Canada. Number two, Punjab is very crucial to India from economy's point of view also. It's not only agriculture production that we are talking about. Punjab supplies artisans, Punjab supplies workers to the rest of the India if those people are not engaged in agriculture. So Punjab is also like a backbone of Indian economy, and therefore Indian government cannot be lackadaisical as far as Punjab is concerned. Why the government of India is silent is a question. It is as Dr. Swamy said, the incompetence of government of India, and therefore government of India must take a stand. Of course, Mr. Sree Iyer has provided a different narrative, and he also mentioned about the Pentagon official who supported India, and he said if US has to choose between India and Canada, they will choose India anytime. And he also said, I read somewhere, that the Canada taking a fight with India is like an ant taking a fight with an elephant. So India is an elephant, but India must show that it is an elephant. India should not act like something which is lesser force and naturally and cannot do much. This topic is very, very important, but I think the next few days, the development will show which side India takes and what kind of stand India takes over a period of time. Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for being forthright and consistent on this issue. Thank you, Mr. Sree Iyer for providing your narrative. Maybe it is different from some of us, but yes, it is very important. Thanks, Ramesh Swamy and Jagdish Shetty ji for hosting this program for such a long time. We have entered 212th episode with this. Thanks the technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Tejas Navalgul, Swaminathan, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh Nair. We will be meeting again next Sunday with a new topic and Dr. Subramanian Swamy and perhaps a new guest. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Test out spaces.
Well, somebody has complimented us already, saying it's a nice debate.
Yeah, but I noticed something very negative in today's discussion.
Arvind,
The
Ramesh,
large number of
everything
negative,
Large number of
negative comments. I was really surprised. The people, they are Modi supporters who have taken over today's platform. And today the total number of comments were maybe 3 times the number of comments we usually get. Number one. Number two, 2/3 comments. Every second comment out of the 3 was anti VHS. They were accusing Dr.
Oh, no,
Swamy.
no. 1 minute. It's not ended. Not ended.